just when I was starting to think that GM was saying some of the right things, they come out and just slap egg on their own faces like Muppets, like clowns. Well, normally I'm positive, upbeat, but today I am disappointed. I'm like a disappointed dad whose son has done something really silly. You've taught your son, you've done everything you can, and he's ignored you and just done something stupid. Gone and crashed his new car you just bought him, something like that. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. Fantastic to have you here. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so to get notifications in your feed. And guys, I really appreciate your support. If you can give me a like or a subscribe, that would be fantastic for me and for the channel. Now, Ford, GM, and Stellantis. If you don't know what Stellantis is, Google it. But basically it's a conglomeration of different car companies that all were so desperate they had to join together, and blah, blah, blah. There's a whole lot of history about it. But anyway, Dodge, Ram, they're part of it, part of Stellantis. So basically Ford, GM, Dodge and Ram came out today, issued a joint press release. Joint. I have no idea why they felt the need to join up together like they needed each other to cuddle each other and come out. And anyway, that, right? Their EV goal is to produce 40 to 50% of their vehicles as electric by 2030. So my question for you watchers, and my question for you GM, for you Ford, for you Stellantis, Ford, Dodge, Ram, and all the other car makers under the Stellantis banner, who exactly is going to buy the other 50 to 60%? Please tell me who? Who is going to pay more money for a petrol or diesel vehicle by 2030? Think about it, right? You can get a vehicle now that has 700 kilometers of range. In 9 years' time, imagine the range you'll be able to get. It'll be common to see vehicles with over 1,000 kilometers of range. Range won't be an impediment. There'll be chargers everywhere. There's already millions of them. We're going to add millions more. It's 9 years away. Batteries will certainly be cheaper. Battery-powered vehicles will certainly be cheaper than diesel and petrol vehicles. So there's only so many mental cases in each population in the world. A few percent, right? A few percent of diehards that can't understand when something better comes along, they want to stick to their old junk. 50 to 60% of the population. Surely they don't think 50 to 60% of the population are that stupid. Now, Ford, GM and Stellantis, also known as the Detroit Big Three, announced today a joint goal for electric vehicles to achieve 40 to 50% of their sales in the US by 2030. Now, don't get me wrong, this is way better than garbage Toyota, who's saying they're only going to get to 15%. In other words, 85% of the vehicles being sold in the United States from Toyota are going to be powered by petrol or diesel in 2030. Yeah, crazy. Who knows? Anyway, like I said, who's going to buy the other 50 to 60% of vehicles that Ford, GM, and Stellantis produce in 2030? That's my genuine question. Now, over the last year, Ford, GM, and Stellantis, mainly Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep in the US, each independently announced plans to accelerate the electrification of their respective vehicle portfolios. GM says it aspires to be fully electric by 2035. So between 2030 and 2035, in that 5-year period, it's going to go from having 40 to 50% of its vehicles as EVs to 100%. Big change in 5 years. Ford recently announced a goal for 40% of its sales to be all electric vehicles by 2030. Now, keep this in mind. Tesla plans on having over 400 gigawatt hours of battery production in 2025. GM plans on having 40. So less than 10% of what Tesla will have. And just last month, Stellantis said that it aims for over 40% of sales in the United States to be low emission vehicles by 2030. So over 40% of sales to be low emission vehicles by 2030. Now I have no idea what that means. It just could mean anything. Today, the Big Three got together in the schoolroom to release a joint statement about their joint goal to achieve sales of 40 to 50% of annual US volumes of electric vehicles, battery electric, fuel cell, and plug-in hybrid vehicles by 2030. Now, I'll read you this statement. I know it's tedious, but I'll read it quickly. Today, Ford, GM, and Stellantis announced their shared aspiration to achieve sales of 40 to 50% of annual US volumes of electric vehicles, battery electric, fuel cell, and plug-in hybrid vehicles. They said this, not me. They said battery electric, fuel cell, and plug-in hybrid vehicles. So these morons are still going down the fuel cell route as well. I thought they'd gotten over that. Anyway, by 2030, in order to move the nation closer to a zero emissions future consistent with Paris climate goals. Our recent product, technology, and investment announcements highlight our to electric vehicles, lead deployment of the full suite of electrification policies committed to by the administration of the Build Back Better plan, including purchase incentives, a comprehensive charging network of sufficient density to support the millions of vehicles. These targets represent investments in R&D and incentives to expand the electric vehicle manufacturing and supply chains in the United States. Full stop. Oh, far out. That's the longest paragraph I've read in a long, long time. Whew. With the UAW at our side in transforming the workforce and partnering with us on this journey, we believe we can strengthen continued American leadership in clean transportation technology through electric vehicle innovation and manufacturing. We look forward to working with the Biden administration, Congress, and state and local governments to enact policies that will enable these ambitious objectives. There's no ambition in these objectives whatsoever. There's fear and survival, the scarcity mindset. This statement comes just as President Biden is expected to make an announcement about electric vehicles. And President Biden's announcement said his aim is to have 50% of all EVs, all vehicles on sale in 2030 to be EVs. Pretty poor ambition considering Canada plans on having 100% in 2030. So guys, if you're a Democrat, if this is the side of the political spectrum you support, I understand that. But I believe you should put pressure on Biden. Tell him you're not happy with this very unambitious goal, 50%. I mean, China will be at 100% by 2030. So he's saying 50% of vehicles in America in 2030 will be gas guzzling, polluting, trash vehicles, basically. That's not a very ambitious goal, in my opinion. Aside from that, though, the Biden administration has already pushed for a $15 billion investment in electric vehicle infrastructure and transit as part of the infrastructure bill currently being pushed the legislative process. But the federal government is also expected to reform its EV incentive program, which currently gives up to $7,500 in tax credits on the purchase of electric vehicles, except for to GM or Tesla, who are basically the main American EV manufacturers in America right now because they've run out of credits. So right now the American government is sponsoring the sales of EVs that come from anywhere except America. Strange. Now, while these kind of comments, sure, they're better than nothing. They're better than GM, Ford, and Stellantis saying, well, but 40 to 50% of sales of all electric cell vehicles combined is a piss weak goal. It's utterly pathetic. Don't invest in these companies. You know, I was on the fence about GM until recently. I believe Mary Barra was saying some of the right things. They're continually revising their goals, looking to invest more and more in batteries. And I thought that within the next 12 months, they were going to announce an ambitious plan to really accelerate their battery EV goals. But they haven't. And clearly, with this little group get-together they've just held, they've all planned on failing. They've all planned on likely bankruptcy. One of them might survive, but one at best. There's going to be a massive shift in consumer demand that will happen within the next 4 years. The vast majority of the market is going to realize, if they haven't already, that their next car will have to be all electric, and there is no alternative. Anything else will lose enormous amounts in resale value. And as we see the internal combustion engine as old technology and battery electric vehicles as the future. Think about the old Nokia 36, whatever they were called. Compare those to smartphones. That is a similar mindset people will hold about electric vehicles. Now, while these three big auto companies might not be ready, well, they won't be ready for the EV transition, which will be here by 2030, 100%, everywhere except potentially America, but the market will be ready. They won't, and the market will. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.